Welcome to the Metropolitan Museum of Video Game Comedy. My name is Austin. I'll be your tour guide today as we explore an incredibly important flashpoint in video game narrative history. So, let's get started. In January 2005, Gabe Newell, the president of Valve Corporation, decided to throw a game jam with some of the most legendary game designers of all time. Names like Tim Schafer, Eric Wolpaw, Chet Falachek, and others all came together to battle each other to earn the favor of Gabe Newell, who had just rocked the gaming world with the release of Half-Life 2. This game jam's theme was conversation, and once Gabe declared the start of the game jam, all of Valve's developers split into teams. Unfortunately for Eric Wolpaw, he got stuck with one programmer and Jeff the coffee guy, which significantly limited the kinds of games he could make or design. Eric wasn't concerned though, and instead wanted to deliver his narrative to the player unhindered by gameplay. Eric set to work and quickly put together his masterpiece. Let's take a look. And here's a visual joke. And that's it. So, you walk into the final door and voila, black void. The player turns around and jokes are only funny once. Eric was the first to finish his game, so he ran to Gabe's office to show off his work. Gabe Newell played it, but was surprisingly disappointed. Games are about interactivity and about player involvement, Gabe said. Narratives in video games must be more conversational. You can't just list off jokes at your player when you're making a video game, but must instead engage the player and make them part of your narrative. Gabe continued shouting at Eric Wolpaw, and people started to notice as Gabe's voice continued to raise. One such onlooker was Chet Falachek. Now, Chet had seen Eric's game and heard Gabe's criticisms, so he ran back to his team, he scrapped the game they were working on, and quickly built a new game based on Gabe's reaction to Eric Wolpaw's 4 jokes. Now, Chet worked all night and had completed his game by morning. It was called Chet Falachek Presents 5 Jokes by Chet Falachek. Alright, let's play it. Yeah, I know. It's a knock-knock joke, but just think about it for a minute. This is exactly what Gabe must have been looking for. This was a conversation, an interaction that could not exist without the player's participation. This is what a game narrative is supposed to be, a conversation between a developer and a player. Chet had really hit on something, and he knew it. And the player turns around. Falachek knew he had finally found what Gabe was looking for, so he ran up to Gabe's office and loaded up his game. Gabe played Chet's game, shook his head disapprovingly, and walked out of the building. Chet was stunned. Falachek chased Gabe all the way to his car before Gabe would even speak to him. Video games as a medium require choice. Perfect game design is giving your players the ability to make meaningful choices in your games, Gabe said. You've made a game that is essentially just click to read a script. That's not a conversation, it's just boring. As Gabe continued to rip into Chet, he didn't realize someone was listening. hiding in the bushes close by, was none other than legendary game developer Tim Schafer. Schafer knew about Chet's game and heard Gabe's feedback and took off running. He found his team, deleted their project, and set to work on a new game, Tim Schafer's Jokerama. Now, unfortunately, the Jokerama exhibit is currently undergoing renovations, so I can't take you all the way through it. But the game was built around a choice the player had to make, the jokes resulting from that player's choice. It was simple, it was effective, and it was a conversation between the designer and the player. Schafer had done what none of these developers could do. He gave players meaningful choices that impact their narrative. Gabe loved it. Now in this next room, the red door is broken. It will break the game if you walk through it. So, I need you to walk into the room and enter the door on your left, the blue door. Please don't enter the door on the right. That will break the game. I'm not kidding. Please don't go there. No, please don't. Why? Why did you go in the red door? I told you it would break my game. Okay. I built this museum in a 48-hour game jam. That means I didn't get to sleep. I created this piece of art specifically for you, for one of the few players that is actually going to play it. And what do? The first chance you have to break my art, you break it. Who does that? Would you paint a smiley face on the Mona Lisa? I can't even believe it. Why would you do that? Oh my God. Okay, fine. You don't want to play my game. You don't like my little lesson, my metaphorical lesson on video game narrative tropes. Fine. Fine. You know what? I've got another game for you, and you deserve everything you get in this one. I'm going to go find someone that wants to play my game. Good luck, buddy.